Para
Hi po. So we're ready po. Thank you everyone. We will begin na po.
God bless everyone.
yeah, God bless, yes. Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Just maray na hapon sa inyo gabos. Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat. Welcome to the 8th webinar of the Respond webinar series on Women's Economic Empowerment, or WE. A special welcome to our USAID AOR, J, the Kiras, to our partners, and that include our partners from ARTA, DICT, and PCW. And also a special welcome to what I call our Suki or repeat webinar attendees and our speakers and panelists. I am Jean Ilio and I will be your moderator today. For participants who are attending our webinar for the first time, next slide please. The series of webinars aims to promote women's economic empowerment. But before I go to that, my support staff has some announcements to make. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Ms. Jean. Before we begin lang po, we have a few house rules. First, participants other than the speakers and panelists are muted. You may ask questions to the panel via Q&A tab or the chat box. There will be an open forum where the questions will be answered. Lastly, help us improve our webinars by answering our survey. The link will be shared to you at the end of the webinar. Kindly indicate in the survey if you would like to receive a copy of the presentations. So that's it po for the admin team. Back to you po, Ms. Jean.
Thank you, Jazz. Okay, let's go to the next slide to that. For participants who are attending our webinars for the first time, as I've already indicated, the series of webinars aims to promote women's economic empowerment. The webinar series is a joint activity of the Regulatory Reform Support Program for National Development, or RESPOND, of the UP Public Administration Research and Extension Services Foundation, or UPAF, a grantee of the United States Agency for International Development, and the Philippine Commission of Women on Women, or PCW, to discuss and hopefully address key issues and concerns of women entrepreneurs and workers during these COVID-19 pandemic times. As a USAID grantee, UPAF Respond promotes USAID's gender equality and female empowerment policy by creating an enabling environment for women's empowerment through gender-aware and gender-responsive competitiveness-enhancing regulatory reform initiatives. In so doing, UPAF is promoting the twin goals of gender equality and women's empowerment of the Philippine Magna Carta of Women. Women's economic empowerment is an advocacy issue that UPAF Respond shares with the PCW, which is the Philippine government agency tasked with the monitoring and oversight of the implementation of the Magna Carta of Women. So far, we have had 7 webinars. There were questions raised by people who registered for the 8th webinar. Some of these questions have been addressed in previous webinars. In 2020, we had 4. And in this year, and this is just August, we had 3, and this is the 4th for this year. The webinars tackled, as you can see in the slide, women's access to credit, logistics or moving goods, online business or e-commerce, FDA processes. FDA stands for Food and Drugs Administration processes and requirements for processed food products, alternative work arrangements and protection of the rights of women and men workers, ease of doing business policies and processes that aim to help entrepreneurs start and sustain their businesses, and last May, new and emerging GAD tools. Now we're on the 8th, and it's entitled Improving Connectivity to Make Regulatory Reforms Work for Women-Owned Micro and Small Enterprises. The present webinar will focus on the creation of an enabling environment for women's economic empowerment by improving connectivity through regulatory reform and ICT infrastructure program. As I said, the webinar was organized in partnership not only with the PCW and the 2 Respond partners, the Anti-Red Tape Authority or ARTA and the Department of Information and Communications Technology or DICT, but also the organizations reflected or represented by the panelists. So we have PLDT Smart, LGU Naga City, this is in Camarines Sur, not in Cebu. Sasis Creation Enterprises, as I said, direct from Antipolo, and of course, USAID. Now, an advisory from the webinar team to participants who wish to receive a certificate of attendance, you should have registered in the Zoom event. You're viewing this through Zoom. Your actual viewing time as measured by Zoom should be at least 1 hour, and that you have submitted the online post-event evaluation form. The webinar will begin with welcome remarks from the chief of party, Dr. Enrico or Henry Basilio. There will be 2 main presentations, one to be made by Secretary Jeremiah B. Belgica of ARTA and by Director Leo Uzbintondo of the DICT, followed by discussion by panel members consisting of Attorney Eileen Reggio of PLDT, Florencio Tamongoso or June Mongoso from Metro Naga Peso, Joy L. Rasping, and Pam Susara from the PCW. I will be moderating the open forum, and the program will close with remarks from Attorney Cray Yuson Chavez, who is the Executive Director of PCW. Attorney Cray will be giving a video message instead of going live because the internet connection in Cagayan de Oro is very iffy, and there's been like two brownouts every afternoon in CDO. So at this point, I give you the Respond Chief of Party, Dr. Enrico Henry Basilio, for his welcome remarks. Henry?
Thank you, Jean, and magandang hapon po sa kanilang lahat. To our speakers, Secretary Jeremiah Belgica, magandang hapon po. And good to see you again, sir. And another partner of UPAP Respond Project, DICT, here represented by Director Leo Uzbintondo. Magandang hapon po sa kanilang lahat at sa ating mga panelists. And also our friend from another partner agency, the Philippine Commission on Women. Of course, we will hear from Attorney Cray later. Magandang hapon. Let me highlight that UPAP Respond Project works closely with the ICT and the ARTA on many activities. I will no longer enumerate them, but let me also say hi to our AOR from USAID, Mr. J. De Quiros, who's also here with us this afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa kanilang lahat, lalo na dun sa sinasabi ni Ms. Jean na aming suki dito sa aming webinar series. So the Respond Project, or RESPOND stands for Regulatory Reform Support Program for National Development, is being implemented, the project being implemented by the UP Public Administration Research and Extension Services Foundation, or UPAP, which is a partner foundation of the UP National College of Public Administration and Governance. So we are given a grant by the United States Agency for International Development in support of the implementation of this program. It's a 5-year project. We started in 2019 and will be here until 2024. Next slide, please. And so just to give you a short background about Respond, the overarching goal of the project is to improve the environment for trade and investment. How? By making it more open and competitive. And to do this, our project has 3 main objectives. The first being the enhancement of market competition. In this area, we work towards the reduction or elimination of barriers to market entry, and also to promote the ease of doing business. So meaning to streamline our regulatory processes and to reduce the regulatory burdens and transaction costs. And it is in this area where we closely work with the Anti-Red Tape Authority, of course headed by Secretary Belgica. Now, the second objective has to do with the strengthening of regulatory capacity and governance. So, as you know, some of our regulatory bodies have conflicting mandates, and this is where we try to advocate for regulatory reform by decoupling these conflicting mandates. And then the cross-cutting objective of the project is the engagement or greater participation of the citizenry in policy reform and regulatory reform advocacies. Okay, so that in a nutshell is what the Respond project is. And of course, the webinar that we're having this afternoon is part of the third objective, which is basically enhancing and encouraging a greater private sector participation in advocacies. Okay, so I hope that I was able to give you a snapshot of the Respond project. And so without further ado, let me turn over the the floor to Jean so that we can start the webinar proper. Jean, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Henry. Now we go to the presentations by our two main speakers. Let me now introduce them to you. ARTA Secretary Jeremiah B. Belgica, who will speak on government efforts to improve connectivity through regulatory reforms, and DICT Director Leo Uzbintondo Jr., who heads the Government Digital Transformation Bureau of DICT. Secretary, I keep on calling him still in my mind, DG. Belgica is the Director General of the Anti-Red Tape Authority. Appointed by President Duterte in July 2019, he is the youngest official holding a governmental position with a cabinet rank. He is a lawyer who received this law degree from the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila and his bachelor's degree in science, major in biology from the University of Santo Tomas. He is also a licensed environmental planner and real estate broker. Our second speaker is Director Leo Uzbintondo Jr., who is the current director of the DICT Government Digital Transformation Bureau. He is also the project director for various DICT flagship programs, such as the National Broadband Plan, the Free Public Internet Access Program, also known as the Free Wi-Fi for All, and the National Government Data Center. He is a professional electronics engineer and a graduate of the Bachelor of Science in Electronics and Communications Engineering at the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines in Cagayan de Oro City. He has 24 years of hands-on experience. Now, Secretary Belgica will speak first, to be followed by Director Leo. Okay, Sec Mai, you have the virtual floor now.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean. Dr. Henry Basilio, to all of our partners, reactors, attendees, my co-speaker and fellow in government service, Director Uzbintondo, and we are delighted to be here with all of you today. I will just be sharing my screen right now. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, it's still black right now, but yeah, okay. It's there.
Sorry, let me just. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. It is but a delight for us to again be with you all in this very important day and topic. I will be sharing quickly on the regulatory reforms to improve connectivity and citizens' access to government services. Okay, so who is ARTA? To give us again a quick review for those who are not as familiar about the mandates of ARTA. ARTA was created by virtue of Republic Act 11032, or the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act of 2018. Ito po ay na-consider na isa ho sa mga game-changing laws dahil ito po ay merong kapangyarihan na tumulong sa mga government offices under its empowerment functions to streamline and re-engineer the processes of government agencies, and also at the same time to crack the whip if needed. Ibig sabihin, maaari pong mag-imbestiga, at maaari din pong mag-file ng kaso, some of which maybe you have seen, even entrapment operations ARTA has been conducting. So these are two very important, although diverse or vastly different function, but that is what is unique about this new agency, no? Both in regulatory reform and also policing the bureaucracy to ensure that red tape does not happen. Just to restate what our president did mention during the 2019 State of the Nation address, simplify and make your service responsive, client-friendly. Your client is the Filipino, our employer. Thus, let me now go to my main presentation, which is access to government service and the improvement of connectivity. Now, there has been an ongoing challenge sa atin pong lahat to access government services. One obvious problem recurring throughout the different government agencies and even throughout many decades are the long lines, no, burdensome process, and too much requirements. Gusto mo ng tulong, gusto mo ng sagot at serbisyo sa gobyerno, pero it seems like that these problems would face, no, a normal Juan de la Cruz. No, in the picture you could see yours truly lining up in one of the government office where I conducted a surprise visit. Okay, so ayan po. So that has been our daily grind in ARTA to really look intently on the different processes and use our two functions, no, our two mandates, which is empowerment and enforcement. So I would be sharing 4 quick things that ARTA has been doing to address the need, no, for government service, to access to government service, and also improving, of course, the connectivity, as I would be touching in a while. So 4 simple solutions also that we're doing is we're helping to arm the people with relevant informations, empower them, give them access. Also streamlining of services across government agencies. The automation programs are very important, and also some disciplinary actions when needed. Let me just bring your attention to the solution number 2 and 3. Streamlining of services and automation are 2 very important things and cannot be separated. You cannot automate without streamlining, and ultimate streamlining should lead actually to automation. So yan po ang katotohanan, and malaking bagay that both ARTA and DICT would be sharing and speaking in this forum. Now, sorry. Okay, so on the first point on arming the people, it is being done in several ways. One is on the continuous education of the people, educating the people by use the Citizens Charter. The Citizens Charter, as I've always on and on mentioned, ito po ang sabihin natin na listahan ng karapatan ng taong bayan na nag-deal with sa atin pong opisina. For my colleagues in the government service who are listening and watching, let us never forget to place our Citizens Charters in a very prominent and conspicuous place in our offices, dahil para po yung isang menu sa restaurant na kinakailangan makita ng taong bayan. Now, teaching the people to use the Citizens Charter would help them access government services. Why? Because the Citizens Charter should be the most current and updated service standard ng ahensya na yan. So government agencies should be made made accountable based on their Citizens Charters. Tandaan po natin, it's the agencies who drafts and who makes the Citizens Charter, the checklist of requirements, procedures, each steps, maximum process, documents, the amount of fees, and the feedback mechanism. By knowing these things, government services would be easier to access. Pag sinobrahan po nila, pwede nyo na pong isumbong sila sa ARTA. Of course, reiteration of the prescribed processing time of 3-7-20 days for simple, complex, or highly technical transactions is very important for us to remember. Pag kayo po sinabi na hindi ho inaksyonan ilang buwan na, tandaan po ninyo, if your application ay kompleto na at bayad na po, that is already automatically approved by operation of law. We will discuss more about that. Now, another way of arming the people is ARTA's continuous monitoring and requirement for government agencies to have their public assistance complaints desk or PACD or PACD. So the public assistance and complaints desk shall be established in each of the offices or agencies for their clients, no? Kung meron nga ho yung iba na sa amin hong mga surprise inspection, meron man silang PACD or PACD, wala naman hong taong naka-assign. So let us always remember to my fellows in government offices, please make sure that your public assistance desks are operational. Very recently, ARTA also issued some statement and reminders to all government offices and agencies to utilize social media and to engage the public, okay? And also to set up an official contact lines. Ibig sabihin, dapat simple ho na to, very basic, that government offices, meron ho kayo sa inyong website na numero o kung saan ho kayo pwedeng matawagan. Okay, so that is very simple yet a very important thing for us to have. Okay, so next is, okay. Now, this is one of the initiatives that ARTA is doing right now. We call it the ARTambayan. No, yan po yung ARTA ng bayan or ARTambayan. This is actually an outpost that we would be establishing along the areas where agencies, where people are struggling with several agencies on long lines and even fixers. So this came about because of our anti-fixer drive na may mga iba hong ahensya na marami hong mga fixers sa labas ng kanilang mga opisina. So ARTA has intensified our campaign against fixers. I myself have been actively involved, even going down and making sure na ito pong mga ali-aligid na government sa mga government offices ay hindi ho ito natatambayan ng mga fixer sa labas. Bakit ho? Kasi simple yung sinasabi namin, pag may fixer sa labas, pihado na meron hong red tape sa loob. Kapag meron hong kumukolekta sa labas, meron hong malamang na kumikita sa loob. Kaya we always remind the agencies now, huwag niyo pong hayaan na meron pong umaali-aligid sa labas ng inyong opisina and not because na sa labas ng office mo na yan, it's no longer your call and responsibility. But we thank you because many of the line government agencies have responded and conducted their own clearing up operations and even intrepid operations at times. So one of the things that ARTA has been doing is to set up this ARTambayan outpost outside in the places where there used to be rampant fixing. Pero the good thing here, as we would place this outpost together with the local government units, this will now be an access point for the public to seek for ARTA's help and redress. Imbis na magpapa-fixer, solver na. Ano po? And also you could see a QR code that we would also be rolling out soon together with this ARTambayan para po for any complaints on red tape, delays in processing times and everything, you could just simply use your cell phone tinatawag nga nila, picturean yung QR code and it would lead you directly to the ARTA complaints desk. So what we'll do now is we'll do as much as we can within the same day or within 24 hours to send your complaints, all right, to follow up these government agencies. And yun po, no, para mabilis po, no, imbis na pupunta po sila sa fixers, then people could already access. Okay, so another way of helping people access government services is on the streamlining. It's basic. Kapag merong ang serbisyo pero hindi madali ang proseso, hindi mo rin makuha ang serbisyo. So the program ni Himaya we have launched since last year have seen some important gains, particularly in the connectivity, logistics, and also the food and pharma sector. So for the telecommunication sector, we have some colleagues here from PLDT who is attending. We have partnered with the different government agencies, especially the DICT, who is here with us, who is our co-chair in this Nehemiah sector, to streamline what used to take 30 permits to 8 permits, what used to take 86 requirements to 35 requirements, what used to take 241 days at an average to an average of 16 days. And now we've even issued a supplement or a expanded joint memorandum circular that further streamlined and also made clear the provisions of the streamlined process on the telecommunication sector. So mamaya mas makita ho natin yung resulta dahil mas bumilis po ang internet connectivity. Also on the logistics sector, ito po yung patuloy na pinagtutulungan. So the projected decrease would be from 209 permits to 24, from 271 days to 35. Food and pharma, which is starting your company until getting a license to operate with the FDA, is 28 steps to 9 steps, 41 requirements to 12, and from 63 to 21 days. Okay, because now they were integrated also to the central business portal. So some quick snapshot on the other streamlining of services without going through the details. The Nehemiah program, as I mentioned, the administrative order number 23 and 32 issued by the president on directing all government agencies to continue their streamlining and to submit to ARTA their efforts. The creation of the green lane for vaccine manufacturers for fill and finish plants. The creation by ARTA of an interagency together with the different government agencies for an interagency task force for the uniform personnel benefits. JMC also on the telecommunication. Also some other issuance, which is the manuals on the regulatory impact assessment. We are thankful, of course, to UP PAF Respond for being our partners in drafting all of this, even the regulatory management system, the Philippine Good Regulatory Principles, the first ever is already ready and being rolled out, and of course the whole of government re-engineering manual. So these issuances and manuals are now ready to be deployed for the use and capacitation of the different government agencies. Okay. Now, on the automation program, I would just highlight a few. Of course, on the creation of the electronic business one-stop shops across the different government agencies, LGUs are now mandated to automate their business permitting licensing system by July 17, 2021. So the eBoss, right now, through the help of DICT, who I believe whom you would be hearing more about these projects later, about 580 LGUs are already using the integrated business permitting licensing system, which necessarily automates their processing of their mayor's permit or business permit. So we are hoping that by the end of the term of our president, we would be able to at least automate most, if not all, of the local government units business permitting licensing offices. Now, the continuous development of the central business portal together with DICT is very, very critical. This is in line with the new ARTA laws section 13, which states that a central business portal shall serve as a central system to receive applications and capture application data involving business-related transactions. So noong January 28, 2021 po, ang ARTA at DICT together with other government offices launched the first phase of the central business portal. Ultimately, the goal of our vision and our goal by the end of this year is to reduce what used to take 13 steps and 33 days just to start a business, from SEC, BIR, SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, up to the local government units. What you would usually take 13 days and 33 days and 13 steps would be reduced to one step, because going online, everything online, registration and payment, digital payments, and even receiving your digital permit would only take a day or even less than a day. So that is our goal. So ngayon po ay na-reduce na po natin into 7 days with the continuous development of the SEC, and we do believe that it is really achievable that by the end of this year, we would be able to really have this already. Okay. Also, ARTA is really pushing and is part of the TradeNet effort for the Philippine National Single Window. So the TradeNet it will be used as the Philippine National Single Window, which means the importation and exportation could already be done in a single platform, automated National Single Window Program. And ARTA just recently was appointed as the chairperson for the technical working group of the National Single Window to encourage and to push government agencies to onboard themselves in this TradeNet platform. Kailangan ho natin itong gawin because we're talking about 76 trade regulatory government agencies here. No, na we are hoping to already onboard themselves. Okay, some important automation programs internally for ARTA, but for the use of everyone, is the PBRIS or the PBRIS and the Artemis. This is the PBRIS is the Philippine Business Registration Information System. Basically, ito po yung kung gusto mong magnegosyo, malaman kung ano po ang mga regulation na kailangan mong daanan at kailangan mong i-fulfill. You could already go to the single website and locate the regulations concerning a business or a transaction that you are involving yourselves into. On the other hand, the Artemis or the Anti-Red Tape Electronic Management Information System is a compilation and a systemized and a logical compilation of the citizens' charters of the different government agencies. Doon mo na po makikita. Pumunta ka sa isang government agency, you go to the Artemis, you have a cell phone, just go to that Artemis site application, and then you could see, ito pala ang processing time nila, ito pala ang requirement ng ahensyang ito, and so on and so forth. So this is also scheduled to be, both PBRIS and Artemis is scheduled to be rolled out by the end of the year. Now, so those are the automation programs. Now, on some disciplinary actions, which is again very important for us, although this would help to remind government offices to really act with haste when it comes to the needs of our people. Just a reminder, these are the several violations under that a government employee could commit in the dispatch of their their daily work that ARTA is also looking into. So this would also help the people better access the government offices and the services when ARTA continues to remind, no, na meron ho palang penalties at violations. So I'll have a quick run through with these several violations. First is the refusal to accept application. Kung kumpleto na, hindi po pwedeng hindi tanggapin. Next, additional requirements that are not in the Citizens Charter, additional costs or fees that are not in the Citizens Charter, no written notice of denial. Ibig sabihin, your application may be denied. Yes, sinabi naman ho yan, di naman ho sinasabi ho ng ARTA na lahat ng application should be approved. Only if it would be denied within the processing time, then it has to be in writing. Non-issuance of official receipts. It's also a violation. Of course, fixing or collusion with fixers. Not also the more prominent one is the not following prescribed processing time, the 3/7/20, and also not attending to applicants within working hours, whether lunch break or before 5 o'clock, kinat off ka na kasi hindi na sila tumatanggap kahit kumpleto ang iyong dokumento. So ito po ay bawal. So for the first offense, 6 months suspension. For the second strike, no, tinatawag po, this is already dismissal from the service and perpetual disqualification from public service po. For forfeiture of retirement benefits, imprisonment of 1 year to 6 years, and also a imposition of fine from 500,000 to 2 million pesos. So have we filed the cases? Yes, we've already filed a total of around 580 violations already in our stint. Okay, since June 30 po yan, no? So we have grown since. Okay, so all right, so to end my presentation, the president during this 2020 State of the Nation address also said we are closer to eliminating overregulation in government services. Are we there yet? Not yet, but we are getting there through your help and through each and every one of us going to ARTA. Tandaan po ninyo, as I've always said, the train of reform against red tape is now on the move. On it are the hopes of for the better of the people for a better Philippines. Anyone who would choose not to move will simply be run over. Tandaan po natin, ang ARTA po ay para sa inyo. Magsumbong po kayo sa amin. And we are we would be more than ready and happy to help to our colleagues in government offices. Tandaan po ninyo, katuwang niyo po kami sa pagpapasimple ng inyong proseso, pagbababilis po ng inyong proseso sa taong bayan. ARTA is here to protect and to help you. To those who would refuse not to move, you will simply be run over if not changing our mindsets. Okay, so thank you very much and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Mai. I understand that you will have to leave soon and that Attorney Marco is going to answer the questions directed to ARTA.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, shall we go to Director Leo of DICT? You now have the virtual floor.
Yes, thank you, Jean, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, DG Maya Belgica, and also to Dr. Eko. Is anyone who will share my screen? My slides. Yes, thank you very much. Please have it in the presentation mode. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to present to you how are we going, or how are we doing in improving the internet connectivity in the country right now, especially for the government services, or for the government agencies, and for some of the local government units. Next, please. Now, the mandate of the ICT, as it was created under Public Act 10844, is it is the department that shall be the primary policy planning, coordinating, implementing, and administrative entity of the executive branch of the government that will plan, develop, and promote the national ICT agenda in the country. Thank you. Next, please. Now, the challenges, is increasing gap between underprivileged members in the society, namely the poor, and those living in rural areas, the minority, handicapped, part of the population who do not have access to computers or the internet, and the wealthy, the high to middle class, and Filipinos riding in urban and well-covered areas who can afford and have better access to the internet and new technologies. So it creates that unwanted inequality in accessing social services and significant life-changing economic opportunities. Currently, there are 60% of the Filipino household do not have access to internet. Next, please. Now, for our programs, activities, and projects, we have three major projects. Actually, the two of this one are under me before, but currently the first one, the National Broadband Plan, is the one that I'm overseeing. The National Broadband Plan is to accelerate the deployment of the fiber optic cables and wireless technology in partnership with the private sector and the local private units. This is to provide secure and cheaper internet connectivity to the national government agencies, to the LGUs, the free Wi-Fi for all, our national government center, and the geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. So this is to create a secure, sustainable, and resilient government network. For the Wi-Fi for all, this is to increase the provision of secure internet access to all public places, the SUCs, public hospitals, the rural units, public parks and plazas, and other open and conflicted areas in the country to promote the digital literacy and information security for educational, social, and economic purposes. While our national government data center, this is to establish secure government data centers in different areas in the country in partnership also with the local government units. This is to create a cloud center of excellence and partner with the public cloud service providers for regional cloud at government data centers. And we are currently working with the VM for the easier procurement of the cloud services. Next, please. Now, this is the map for the National Philippine Broadband Network, or the National Fiber Backbone that we are creating. So the NBP is going its rollout in the National Fiber Backbone Phase 1, which aims to provide capacity to the fiber backbone to the following regions. For Region 1, that is Ilocos Region, Cordillera or CAR, Region 3, and the NCR. The project is aims to be completed by this year, November, and the phase 2 of the National Broadband Program will extend the connection to southern part of Luzon. And the phase 3 will be focusing on Region 5, which is the Bicol region. But right now, we have a new development, not yet officially announced, but we are on the process of doing our redundancy route just to provide better connectivity to our national government agencies in Cebu and in Davao, and also here more bandwidth here for NCR. And this is under also the National Broadband Plan. Next, please. Now, for our free Wi-Fi for all, as of August 12, we have an active sites of 10,661 sites, wherein one site could have at least 3 access points or 4 access points, and are now connected and serving over 6 million unique users. So we are present in 17 regions, 51 provinces, and 1,212 cities and municipalities with 18 point of presence. So the coverage that we have for this free Wi-Fi for all is the national and local government offices, the public schools, as I mentioned a while ago, the SUCs and TESDA institutions, government hospitals and LSUs, public parks, plazas, and other open areas, public libraries, transport terminals, and also including the COVID facilities that we are having right now, since the COVID pandemic started last year. Next, please. Next, please. Okay. So for as of the operational sites, these are the distribution. We have 2,000 plus for the national government hospitals and health centers. For the national and local government units, we have 2,000 plus also. Public service, we have 440. For public parks, plazas, and other open areas, 1,498. The public schools also we have at least 1,500. And the HUCs and test institutions, we have 1,779. And the transport terminals, we have 96. So all in all, we have 10,661 as of the moment. And currently that will increase because we are having this ongoing implementation, especially in our geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas using our visa. Next, please. So for our national government data center, pursuant to Executive Order number 47, series of 2011, the objective of the AGDC project is to interconnect government agencies, paid for a highly secure and robust ICT infrastructure, and provide seamless online services for the people. So we have the number of agencies that are availing the NGDC services. For those who have co-location services from us, we have different numbers in terms of agencies. We have 20, we have 20, we have 10. We have also our target of 12 for this 2021 and another target for the 2022. We also have cloud hosting. We subscribe cloud space and we serve other agencies for their needs. And for these co-locations, like for instance, the Philippine ID system, the requirement of the PSA, we provide space, rack space for them. So actually we started that last year, and the rack space is already in place, and we are just waiting for the completion of the installation of their servers to us. There are also other agencies that are asking for our services, and hopefully we can serve them better also, because we are waiting for the go live of our NGDC 3 somewhere in Subic. Next, please. Now, for the accomplishment as of 2021 for the NGDC, we have 93 number of hosted agencies and 25 co-located agencies, and we have 5 maintained facilities. Those who have servers with us, an agreement with us that will also partnering with them in the maintaining of the facilities. And some of the facilities are 2 of these facilities we have a major role. So some of the facilities are also co-located by us, rented by us. Thank you. Next, please. So other DICT initiatives that are in place right now. Next, please. So as mentioned by DG Belgica, we have also this business permit and licensing system. In 2017, it was identified as electronic business permit and licensing system, but currently we branded this one as IBPLS, or the Integrated Business Permit and Licensing System, which focuses on the development, maintenance, and implementation of line systems for the processing of business permit, with barangay clearance, building permits, and certificate of occupancy. So the IBPLS will transition to ILGU also by 2022, with ILGU filing, processing, and payment, and issuance of permit and licenses can be done online. So currently there are LGUs already, as mentioned by DG Belgica, who are acquiring our free service of IBPLS, and the application and issuance of business permit are online. And those clients that we have, that the local government unit has, can pay their dues via online, depending on the choice of the local government unit. May it be GCash, may it be Piloro, other payment merchant around the country. Next, please. Now, these are the distribution of the IBPLS as of July 30 this year. So we have the operational, and under our developmental, we have conducted pilot testing. We have also LGUs who are into ongoing data build up, and we have also those for data build up, which is also including yung kasisimula pa lang, mag-start pa lang, and we are conducting training also, and for the users, no? Kasi yung gagamit talaga is yung local government unit. And we are giving this system for free for the local government unit. Wala po silang babayaran. Ang rule lang nila is they have people who can work with this, and meron silang internet connectivity, and we have the computer. Okay, so for the system, it's totally free. Even the system that we provided, it's totally free. Next, please. So with the e-payment LGUs, for instance, the Valor Aurora, the e-payment provider is MYEG. For Isabela, Ilagan Isabela, MYEG. And there are also LGUs that acquire the payment merchant or payment gateway of the Land Bank of the Philippines, like Paite and Mandaue in Cebu. And for the San Roque Northern Samar, we have two, the MYEG and the Development Bank of the Philippines. Next, please. So for the building permit and certificate of occupancy, the utilization status, we have operational, the ongoing system testing, and for training. Currently, we have 5 operational or 5 OLGUs that are having this certificate of occupancy and building permit issuances under our IBPLS. And there are 32 also who are under ongoing system testing, and there are 15 LGUs who are waiting for the time or for the slot for the training. So currently we have engaged 52 LGUs for this one, for the business permit and for the building permit and the certificate of occupancy issuances. Next, please. Now for our GovNet, this is the government network. Actually, this is component 4 of our national broadband. Some says wala pa yung national broadband, pero kami sa amin meron na. Pero yung national fiber backbone ang hindi pa nabuo sa buong Pilipinas. Pero yung component ng national broadband is GovNet is already present in some major cities in the country. Now, this GovNet is a program to build fiber to the building to bring the country's broadband services to the level of more developed economies. Next, please. Now, we are like here in the NCR, we are connecting national government agencies to our government network. Now, the government project was integrated with the National Broadband Program, and it aims to interconnect government agencies to provide fast, secure, and efficient fiber connectivity and improve provision of public services to the people. We have almost 900 of the agencies around the country that are connected into our GovNet, actually. And they're increasing in terms of numbers because there are also those agencies that are not into our list before, but they requested for connectivity. So we just have to provide them. Kung wala naman kaming fiber na mapaprovide sa kanila because of yung iba kasi challenging, malayo yung opisina, doon mismo sa core namin. So we provided them connectivity through IP radio. Next, please. Right. So these are the number of agencies connected right now. Yung Davao dito, Cagayan de Oro and Batangas is still actually for bidding. pero on the pipeline na siya, no? Kasi dami kasing changes in terms of sabi nung ibang service provider na nag-iba na yung cost. At saka halimbawa sa Davao may challenge kasi di ka pwede mag-aerial kasi may batas na sila doon, may ordinance na sila na dapat underground. And kaya medyo yung tatlong cities, Sabao, Cagayan de Oro, and Batangas, medyo na-delay siya konti. But NCR, existing na siya, Pampanga, in Butuan, Iloilo, Palo Leyte, Legazpi, Tubigaraw, Baguio, Cotabato, Marao, Zamboanga, San Fernando, La Union, and yung Cebu Phase 1, actually yung movement nag-start kasi sa Cebu. Yung Phase 1 na 19, pero yung Phase 2, which is 67 agencies ang i-connect, including yung mga City Hall ng Tri-City. We have 67, but currently, yung testing kasi ano siya, due for acceptance, nag-test pa kami sa ngayon, 29 pa lang yung medyo pumasa na kasi nga, meron kasing challenge doon din. No? Kasi pag hindi mo owned yung poste, so kailangan mo magrenta, kahit gobyerno ka, so dapat pag magrerenta ka pa rin sa mga may-ari ng poste, like yung electric cooperative and others. Next, please. Okay, so I think that's it. That's my short presentation this afternoon. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for the invitation. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Director Loloy, as I've started to call him. And I think what the two presentations had shown, had established actually, had been what are the needed enabling environment that could help citizens, women and men, business, people in business or not, access government services. So it's, and now they can also use the infrastructure that has been established to help them start their business, sustain their business, and so on and so forth. So the connection may not be as the presentation of the ICT showed, may not be direct to businesses per se, but since you transact with government, transacting with government, transactions with the government are expected to be made much simpler and faster, as shown also by the presentation of Secretary Belgica. Now we shall go to the welcome, Marco. Now we shall go to the panel discussion. We have invited 4 members of the panel, one from the telco sector, and that's PLDT, and the courtesy actually of the Great Women Project. The project manager was the one who connected us with PLDT. Now, then there is we invited somebody from an LGO, from an LGU that I knew for certain had already begun to streamline their business permit and licensing system early on. And that is, okay, then we have then we have an owner, an entrepreneur from Metro Manila, and we have somebody from PCW. Now, the first panelist, I will be presenting all of them all together. The first panelist is Attorney Eileen Regio, who I call now Eileen, just Eileen, currently holds the position of First Vice President, Regulatory and Strategic Affairs at PLDT, and is concurrently the Co-General Manager of the Vega Telecom Incorporated, a group of companies engaged in the telecommunications business with various subsidiaries, including Bell Telecommunications Incorporated. She has been in the telecommunications industry for over 20 years. If Director Loy has been with the ICT field for 24 years, you have also Eileen, who has been in the telecommunications industry for almost as long. She is a certified, apart from being a lawyer, she is a certified public accountant. And prior to joining PLDT, she was an associate of Sisip Gores Velayo and Company, which we know as SGV, specializing in local and international taxation and corporate mergers and acquisitions. So that's our first panelist. The second panelist is Florencio Tam Mongoso Jr., or whom I have always known as June, he is the manager of the Metro Naga Public Employment Service Office, or Metro PESO. He has been the partner of the PCW, major partner of the PCW, under the first phase of the Great Women Project. He holds a Career Service Executive Eligibility, or CSEE, which is the highest eligibility conferred to career officials who are who are qualified for appointment to national positions. He has a certificate in state and local governance from the Academy for Educational Development, Washington, D.C., under a scholarship from the U.S. Department of State. This was in 2004. And the certificate in quality management systems from Swinburne University in Australia under a scholarship grant from the Australian government. And this was in 2001. But I think what stands out is that he is a recipient of various awards, including the prestigious the 10 Outstanding Young Men, or TOYM, for government and public service that he received in 2002. That is June. The third panelist is Joy Rapsing, who is an entrepreneur. So we have a full-blooded entrepreneur in the panel. She is the owner of Sasis Creation Enterprises and had been part of the Go Negosyo Kapatid Mentor Me program. She is also involved in the DTI OTOP, or One Town, One Product program, which is, as DTI calls it, a priority stimulus program for micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, or MSMEs, as government's customized intervention to drive inclusive local growth. And the last panelist is Pam Susara, Supervising Gender and Development Specialist of the PCW. She supervises the provision of technical assistance to government agencies under the Women Economic Empowerment and Education sectors. She joined PCW in 2015 under the Great Women Project, and a few years later moved to the Sectoral Coordination Division of the organization. She has been with the government for over 2 decades, helping with the implementation of various government flagship programs on livelihood, early childhood education, and conditional cash transfers. Let's start with Attorney Eileen, followed by June, Joy, and then Pam. Eileen, the virtual floor is now yours.
Thank you, Ms. Jean. Thank you to all the organizers. Thank you a while ago to Secretary Belgica and of course Director Leo. Allow me to present to you today, Ms. Muriel, if you can share my slide now. Yeah, allow me to share to you today the perspective from some telco operators like PLDT and Smart. We know that PLDT and Smart are fully aware, and we understand that telecommunications and connectivity play a critical role in stimulating the growth of the modern economy. Telecommunications has become even more critical at this point in time when COVID-19 has continued to plague our country. With this new norm where everybody has been working from home, our kids are studying from home, we are able to communicate with our friends, loved ones, even office mates through virtually, through the use of connectivity or internet. Fast and resilient connectivity will likewise be instrumental in the light of our recovery from COVID-19, as well as the recovery of the Philippine economy. Needless to say, a strong and robust connectivity and telecommunication service is also crucial so that we can finally achieve our aspiration towards a digitally transformed e-government. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Allow me to show to you the when you say fixed, that's PLDT's network reach. To date, PLDT as of the first half of 2021 has already have 11.3 million homes passed. This is 11% higher than 10.2 million in the first quarter of 2021, or 25% higher than the 9 million as of the end of 2020. Our total capacity in terms of ports, ito po yung kinokonektahan para ho kayo magkaroon ng internet, is now 4.8 million ports as of the first half of 2021. This is 18% higher than the total number of ports as of year-end 2020, which is 4 million, and 9% higher than the first quarter number of ports of 4.39 million. As of today, we already have 2 million available ports, 1.33 million of which are fiber, around 600,000 are VVDSL. These are all fiber-like ports. We aspire to be able to build a total of 1.7 million ports in 2029. As to the fiber footprint nationwide, we already have 524,200 kilometers as of the first half of 2021. This is 10% higher than that of the first quarter of 478,300 kilometers, or 22% higher than that of the number of the kilometers footprint as of year-end of 2020 of 429.3 thousand kilometers. The total target of the PLDT group is to be able to roll out 125,000 kilometers in fiber for 2021. We're happy to note that with the help of ARTA, the DICT, the NTC, to date, we're able to achieve 76% of that target as of the first half of 2021. So we can safely say that the PLDT has the most extensive fiber optic footprint in the Philippines. Next slide, please. Now for smart, we have BTS here is base stations. I was reminded by the query earlier of Miss Jean. It's not the K-pop group, no? Our LTE and 4G BTS or base stations are now at 34,700 as of the first half of 2021. This is 4,500 higher than that of the last December 2020 figures. Our 3G base stations are now at 16,700 as of the first half of 2021, while our 5G, one of the fastest form of transmission so far as mobile service is concerned, we now have 4,800 base stations, which is a very marked improvement versus that of year-end last year, where we only had 500 base stations. In terms of coverage, our 2G, 3G, and 4G networks now cover a total of 96% of the total population. The total base stations count for smart is around 6,500,000. In terms of latch devices, ito po yung number of mobile phones na kumukonect using the smart network. We're already at 78% using the LTE and 4G, around 84% of which are in Metro Manila. Next slide, please. Okay, yung sinabi ko po earlier, the smart 5G network, the fastest transmission type of connectivity that we have for the mobile service, we can see here a significant increase in the number of unique devices that has been connected or has latched on to the 5G network, now at 520,000 compared to that of year-end of less than half of it, which is 252,000 only. We can also see here that there is a significant increase in traffic. Marami po talagang gumagamit ng internet ngayon using smart also, no? At 2,627 in terabytes already, no, versus last year of just 294. As mentioned earlier, there's been a significant increase in the number of base stations. And we are proud to say that based on the latest testing of UCLA, for those who do not know po, UCLA po is the global leader in terms of internet speed testing and data analytics. Based on their study, there's been a marked 25% improvement quarter on quarter in the speed of smart service. That is from 190 Mbps in the last quarter to 238 Mbps. And they have said, UCLA, based on their testing, that smart is faster in 15 over 15 regions. Next slide, please. Okay, just to show you how pervasive the network of the PLDT group is and how many people are affected by it. We now have a total of 78.4 million subscribers nationwide. Of the 78.4 million, mobile or cellular phone subscribers are 71.7 million, broadband or your internet at home subscribers are 3.45 million, and fixed line, your telephone line subscribers are 3.25 million. You must please note that unlike mobile, where subscription is 1:1 because individual subscription po yan, ang broadband, fixed wireless subscription, sa bahay po natin yan ginagamit, which can simultaneously be used by all members of the household. So between 5 to 10 po minsan simultaneously ang gumagamit sa ating bahay niyan. So even if it's 3.45 million, there is a multiplier effect by the fact that mas marami pong subscribers ang gumagamit at any given time. Next slide, please. So how are we able to do this? The company has invested for the past 10 years, the group has invested for the past 10 years, a total of 460.8 billion in CapEx, or an average of 46 billion year on year. No? To date, as of the first half of 2021, the total CapEx investment of the PLDT group is already at 41.3 billion, which is 31% higher or 9.9 billion higher than that of last year. Ang aspiration po namin, ang target po namin is to be able to, ito pong capital expenditure spending po namin ito. Ito po yung pagpapa-improve at pagpalawak ng network ng PLDT group. No? We are targeting to spend around 88 billion to 92 billion this year. Siguro po you will ask why not a fixed amount, no? Kasi the pandemic po has made really affected the rollout of telecommunications infrastructure because of the varying degree of community quarantine across the nation. So pag hirap po kami, hindi po namin ma-spend. But as much as we could, we would like to spend a total of 92 billion. But what is important here is that we can assure that, say, for every 10 peso that we earn, 45% or 450 of that 10 pesos gets plowed back to the operations of the company so that it can further improve the service. Pinambibili po namin yan ng pagpa-improve ng network at papalawak ng network. Next slide, please. So this significant, what I discussed earlier, the significant investment in capital expenditures have so far bear fruit. No? As of July 2021, PLDT's average download speed is already at 82.44 Mbps. Again, this is based on UCLA results, hindi po to self-serving. A third-party analyst is the one giving out these results. No? It is faster by 174% versus last year, nung nagalit po ang presidente sa amin. And 4% better compared to the download speed in the last month, no? As you can see from the graph, month on month nag-improve po talaga yung speed. Marami po tayong naririnig, no, from the media, from some government officials and even lawmakers saying that we are not at par with other countries in the world. So yung Philippine po, average ng Philippine as a country as a whole, no, which means all the providers of fixed broadband service, we're 63rd out of 181 countries. Ngayon po, kung PLDT lang pong mag-isa, halimbawa po ang representative lang ng Pilipinas ay PLDT, we are proud to say that we are 55th out of those 180 countries, which is 8 notches higher than the Philippine average. For Asia, we're 14th out of the 48 countries, which is 3 notches higher than the Philippine average. And for the Southeast Asian region, we're 4th out of the 10 countries, which is 1 notch higher than the Philippine average. Next slide, please. The same story is true for SMART. You can see here that again, because of the massive capital expenditure, as of July 2021, SMART continues to lead competition in terms of average download speed at 49.75 Mbps, which is 147 faster versus last year, again, based on Ookla results. Again, following the analysis, kung ang Philippine average, using just the Philippine average, meaning all the competitors, all the mobile providers in the Philippines, were 72nd out of 139 countries. But if it were only SMART, we're actually 51st out of 139 countries, or 21 notches higher. Sa Asia po, dapat po, kung SMART lang po mag-isa, 15th out of 45 countries, and sa Southeast Asian region, we're 3rd out of 10 countries. Next slide, please. Apart from this massive capital expenditures, we would not have been able to do it without government's help. No, of course, I have to mention also Bayanihan 1, Bayanihan 2. But as mentioned earlier by DG Belgica, Secretary Belgica, they really, really are instrumental in helping us. No, with our capital expenditure, with our rollouts, with the improvement of service. So isa po dyan is RA 1103 as explained earlier by Secretary Belgica. The DICT, salamat din po sa DICT, their Department Circular Number 008, or the Common Tower Policy, has really accelerated the deployment of telecommunications infrastructure in the country. Of course, our regulators, the National Telecommunications Commission, has also issued various guidelines, circulars, and orders that has helped us in the rollout of the needed infrastructure, and has also protected us from legitimate and enfranchised telcos and ISPs from illegal and unauthorized providers. Marami po kasi ngayon, especially in GIDA areas, as mentioned by Director Leo, bumibili po sa amin ng, say, home subscription, tapos po binibenta ng tingi sa unsuspecting subscribers. Yun po, nakakasira po yun sa serbisyo because, you know, people who subscribe to those are cheated out of a better connectivity. So, ang NTC po has been helping us in, you know, legitimizing these endeavors. Also, the DICT and the NTC, especially during the initial implementation of the enhanced community quarantine, wala hong gusto magpapasok sa amin ng mga barangay. Natatakot po sila, no, because of the possible transmission of the virus, no. So, you know, the DICT singly and the NTC singly, and both of them jointly, have really you know, espoused their cause not just at the IATF level, but down to the barangay, building administrators, LGU, cities, etc. And they have paved the way for the unhampered rollout of telecommunications projects. Okay, perhaps, next slide please, perhaps the best way to illustrate what regulations has done for us, no, particularly ARTA and the DICT, is that to date, the total number of permits procured for wireless and fixed projects of SMART and PLDT as of August 9, 2021, in passing na mention po ni Secretary Belgica to earlier, we already have for PLDT 21,653 and for SMART 5,973. Next slide, please. But meron pa rin pong mga challenges. Although these are all work in progress, salamat po. A lot of the government agencies have been helping us to finally resolve these issues. We still encounter unjust, excessive, oppressive, and confiscatory regulatory fees. There are still requirements for permit applications to be approved by the city or municipal council. There are still some LGUs that require special use permits before telcos can secure a building permit. Some LGUs are still requiring a public hearing to be held before permits may be issued. And some HOAs are still refusing to issue clearance and resolution due to telcos' failure to secure neighbors' consent. and some LGUs rather. HOAs are still objecting or opposing to the construction of passive telecoms towers. Next slide, please. Other challenges include HOAs are collecting excessive fees. There are requirements for telcos to remove overhead cables and to place them underground. I think Director Leo has mentioned this also. And some LGUs implement a one-pole policy. And there are those who withhold permits due to non-payment of real property tax on machineries and local franchise tax. This is notwithstanding the fact that the local revenue codes really have remedies for this. But then some of the LGUs are using this as are using the withholding of our permits to compel telcos to pay taxes and taxes on machineries or local franchise taxes, despite the presence of some legal issues. Okay, so what do we need? What else do we need? So we are asking, our aspiration from the government to further improve our service, that hopefully there could be legislation or issuance of a circular standardizing regulatory fees or permits. No. We also aspire to have a circular to be issued to further streamline permitting processes to include fixed rollout. I think this is an ongoing project already headed by the ARTA and the DILG. We hope that there will be a legislation soon that will reduce, if not eliminate, spectrum users' fees. This runs to the billions of pesos po then. So we hope that they could issue a new guidelines that will cover third-party service provider fees. Sometimes po yung mga installers or repairmen namin are being required to pay exorbitant and unreasonable fees before they can even enter the homes. No, sometimes we just need to be there for 10-15 minutes to fix. Pero the fees that are being required by the HOAs are really, really exorbitant. And finally, kahit po ma-cover natin ang buong bansa, the entire country with fiber optic cables that will make our service better, and at par with other countries, kung lagi naman pong napuputol by contractors of, say, DPWH, other government agencies, and other telcos, accidentally naman po, kung lagi po napuputol, ganun din po, kasi I hope you understand that one fiber cut one fiber cut can really affect thousands and even more than that, in a certain area. Sometimes more than one barangay is affected by a fiber cut. So we hope to have a cooperation agreement with the DPWH and other telcos to resolve this finally, all these accidents. Finally, next slide, please. I just want, on behalf of PLDT and Smart as one of its officers, I just want to give this assurance and commitment to support the government in its efforts to introduce pro-investment telecommunications policies, including all measures that will speed up the rollout of telecommunications infrastructure in the country. This is even more true today as we face this unfamiliar crisis that has changed the way we live. When both the public and the private sectors collaborate, we believe that we can realize our common objective of having a world-class telecommunication service in the country, thereby improving government processes and systems and uplifting the lives of our countrymen. That's it for me. Thank you very much, Ms. Jean.
June.
Yes po.
Yeah. Thank you, Eileen.
Gandang hapon po. Let me
Then,
first commend ARTA Secretary Attorney Mai and DICT Director Leo Uzbintondo for showing to us how their hands are really full right now, given the urgency of the services they have to deliver to the public in the current situations that we have. And this will go on for years. And for ARTA, I don't think they have their presence felt in Region 5. So hopefully po, ma-identify din yung Region 5 as an area of action ng ARTA. Kasi for the improvement of the public service in the area, mas maganda po na na makarating sa amin yung kanilang services. Sa DITC naman po, it's good to know na kasali na kami sa phase 3 ng National Broadband Rollout. And secondly, hindi po kami kasali dun sa free Wi-Fi for all the project. Hopefully po in the near future, may sama na rin yung Region 5. Let me share some of the efforts of the local government unit in terms of our webinar. First, we have already rolled out our electronic business one-stop shop since 1999. It has actually undergone 3 revisions and enhancements, and in 2011, the city has aligned it with the e-tracks, the electronic accounting system, with the assistance of the Australian government. Meron kami mga kasama mga LGUs din from other regions. And we're happy also to note that the ICT is now offering for free the BPLS system to LGUs. Nag-revise na rin sila, nag-enhance na rin sila kasi dati eBPLS yan, ngayon ay BPLS na. And hopefully po, with the DICT na unti-unting nararamdaman yung presence sa region, baka they can take a look at what Naga is doing. Kasi ang amin is way back in 1999 pa and until now. So baka may matutunan sila how we are doing it, and baka makatulong din kami kung paano pa ma-enhance yung BPLS system nila. Second, yung online transactions with the city government, because of the pandemic, we passed an ordinance in 2020 that mandates online processing for majority of City Hall transactions. It's the need of the times, kaya naobliga tayo na gawin na yon. Itong ordinance gives the perspective sa view ng clients. Ibig sabihin po, lahat ng kailangan namin i-online to the benefit of the constituents. Hindi po para mas maging magaan yung trabaho ng mga empleyado. It's the other way around. Mas magaan dapat sa general public. So yung battle cry namin dito is giving the right people the right type of assistance at the right time. So mas pinaiksi pa natin yung mga timelines in terms of delivering the services that we have. Secondly, we ease up access to information, especially po na during the pandemic year, mas marami na po yung naging transactions namin sa FB, sa Facebook. Pag kinumpara mo po doon sa ating website, parang ang 3 out of 4 mas preferred ng to transact with the city on Facebook rather than the website. So kailangan din namin mag-innovate to address such need. Isa pa po, we pioneered the Citizens Charter. We published the first edition in 1998, second edition in 2004, the third edition in 2009, and after 2009, we already introduced the electronic versions. Ibig sabihin po, hindi na mag-aantay pa ng taon para baguhin yung mga systems and procedures kasi electronically, lahat ng departments and offices na may mga bagong transactions and mga bagong timelines, including requirements, madali na lang. Kasi online na siya, hindi na siya kailangan pag-i-publish. Yung ating Cities Information System Strategic Plan naman has already been adopted last year. Yung targets natin dito ay yung end-to-end online processing. Ibig sabihin, from application up to the issuance of all documents in terms of business permittings, real property taxation, building occupancy permits, simple frontline service transactions, yung mga birth certificates, payments ng traffic violations, pati yung loans and receivable systems and procurement, inventory, payable, disbursement ay gagawin na lang nating online. Let me give me an emphasis on the procurement, inventory, payables, disbursements, yung number 5. This is a special concern, especially for women, small entrepreneurs, kasi the focus of many online transaction is on business permits. However, itong bagay na ito has a lot of room for improvement. Kasi po yung cash flow ng mga micro enterprises ay medyo maiksi. Particularly, naafektahan sila po pag may delays in payment by government. Kasi marami po kaming, kasi hindi naman kami tumutulong sa kanila kung kami mismo ay hindi sila ipapatronize. Unfortunately, there are times na kami pa yung nagiging cause ng hindi nila pagkikita o hindi sila nagkikita ng mas mahusay dahil it will take them 20 to 30 days before na mabayaran sila because of the different requirements. Kaya ito ang gusto namin focusan this time, kung paano at least ma-reduce to 15 weeks time. Dapat bayad na yung ating mga WEEs para naman mas makatulong pa talaga tayong lalo. Next slide, please. Ito po yung mga challenges that we are facing right now. Una po, alam ko sa lahat naman may problema ito, yung connectivity natin. Sabi nga ni Atty. Ai, bigla talagang lumubo yung online nung pandemic. Kasi lahat nasa bahay, lahat bawal lumabas. Yung mobility is medyo hindered. So no choice, talagang kailangan. But we see also the efforts of our telcos to address the problem. And nakikita naman ni Atty. Ai kanina kung ano yung mga ginagawa nila. And ang DICT din is doing everything para din po ma-enhance yung telcos, especially in terms of building new facilities and more facilities para po ma-address yung ating problema on connectivity. And last, of course, ang DICT din is doing its contribution, yung awareness and acceptability of online transactions. Alam po natin na yung mga young generations adapt to technology easily. But the middle age and senior citizens, medyo po may difficulty in terms of adoption. And lastly, yung frequent power interruptions. Kasi po dito sa amin, on a daily basis, mga 2 hanggang 4 na beses na nagba-brown out. And usually po pag weekends, 8 to 5, walang kuryente. Kung minamalas-malas, up to Sunday, wala ring kuryente. So, pag may mga ganitong occasions po, mas nagre-rely na kami sa generator. Pag may kailangan talaga kaming mga ganitong webinars, we put down the electrical supply and we utilize our generator to guarantee na mas sigurado po na makaka-attend kami ng mga kailangan i-attend. So that's it for Naga, and hopefully po this will help out other LGUs in terms of serving our WEs. Magandang hapon ulit.
Thank you very much, June. Actually, Naga is also one of the learning hubs.
Yes po.
Local learning hubs for gender development by PCW. So there will be could be lots of learning that could be had with Naga. Thank you very much, June. Now shall we go to Joy from a private telecommunications company to an LGU. Now we go to an entrepreneur. Joy?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Joy Rapsing. I'm the owner po ng Sasis Creation Enterprise dito sa Rizal, Antipolo. So, our company po mostly we cater mostly sa sustainable fashion. Miss Mariel, possible po pang pa-share ng screen.
Muriel, yeah.
Next
So,
slide. Next slide po. So, Sasis Creation, we've been in the business for since 2015. We're into fashion. Our pieces came from reclaimed fabric. So, yung mga tinatapon po ng mga local and international brands, yun po yung ginagamit nating mga fabrics to create or upcycle another product. We also incorporate some indigenous materials. So, we're also helping some women, group of women sa ano naman po sa mga northern part of the Philippines for the views, body positivity. So meaning po, we cater from extra small maximum to bigger sizes to 5XL. We are producing this item simply because we're having a hard time finding items that will fit us when. So our designs are forward na po sa mga clients namin like teleseries, Kagyan ng Ginto, Halik, Huwag Kang Mangamba, and other teleseries ng local natin. So, some of them naman po, mga journalists, mga newscasters, at saka mga influencers. So, can we go to the next slide, please? For a couple of months after the pandemic, we stopped po yung production for 2 months. Of course, since the Me Too kami, hindi siya ganun ka-essential. So what we did po is we are working with women, yung mga mommies po na gustong magtrabaho and to give, of course, extra income sa mga anak nila or sa family nila. We would like to empower them as well. So instead of us dito sa bahay or dito sa factory namin, we decided to have it or forwarded it sa kanilang mga bahay. So, pinahiram po namin yung mga makina in order for us to, of course, continue the production after 2 months of lockdown, after 2 months of stop production. We made the decision to come up with a campaign na kung saan yung mga natira namin mga tela, ginawa po namin siyang face mask at saka tas we buy some fabric po na DOH DOH approved na material for us to have PPEs, which we donated sa mga hospitals po, OH, lang centers, and kahit saan po na within the metro as well as sa Antipolo LGU po namin. And then some clients, they want us to create PPEs as well para din sa donation campaign. So we created din po mga PPEs and masks for the clients that na gustong mag-donate. So can we go to the next slide, please? So we used to have a physical store sa Cinderella, sa may Alabang Town Center as well as Glorieta. We also have toll manufacturing, meaning kami po ang nagde-design ng mga damit sa ibang mga clients na gusto ng kanilang sariling brand. One of our clients is Miss Ruby Rodriguez na nagkaroon siya ng collaboration with us. So yung design niya po, kami po ang nagtahe and then sinel namin sa mga events. As you know, for a small business like us, ang sales channels po namin ay bazaars. We started sa Instagram and Facebook as well as sa mga trade fairs po. Then we have our own physical store. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we have to shut down some of our stores. And then we only have one store left sa may Market Libertia, and then we're opening another 2 po in God's will sa Vista Mall, Pampanga, as well as sa Global South. Now, what we would like to have, because of the pandemic, we cater mostly, our client mostly came from Instagram. They call it the new normal. Mas nakakakuha po kami ng clients sa mga online transaction. Can we go to the next slide, please? Next, business permit. Okay, for the business permit po, since dito po sa Antipolo, last January, ang gawa ko po ay regular ng transaction ng isang MSMEs na pupunta po sa local government na kung saan doon ka mismo makikipag-usap para bayaran ng yung permit. At that, of course, kapag okay ang lahat, makukuha niyo na po agad ang permit niyo. One good thing about it, narinig ko kasi kanina na meron na silang business online transaction. And I'm just worried about na what if, di ba you have to pay certain amount. Dito po kasi sa LGU namin, sometimes, dahil medyo kumalit ang kita mo, they have a certain portion na pwede mo munang, instead of let's say 5,000, you can just pay muna 2,000, and then in terms na tuyo ka. So yun, medyo maganda yung sinasabi ng LGU na one process na lang sila. Napakalaking tulong sa amin yon. But yun nga na po, yun lang yung medyo question ko. Paano kapag kulang ang budget mo, mag-go through ba yan? Mag-push through ba yung transaction? Can I go to the next slide, please? So, challenges namin po from online marketing platform. Right now, we believe in digital marketing. Yun na po talaga eh. We have to face the challenge in order for us to still work on, to still have our own dream, to fulfill our dreams pa din. So what we do have is we invested po sa website, although yung website namin medyo down siya ngayon kasi nag-update kami. We invested sa website, we invested sa mga digital marketing. We have our own small team na nag-handle for digital marketing. Tapos, ang benta namin tulad ng sinabi namin kanina ay nagmumula sa online. Dahil napakahina po talaga ng benta namin sa Shopee kasi we just started Shopee and Lazada, and we're really having a hard time po selling sa Shopee and Lazada simply because of the prices na binibigay sa atin ng merkado, sa atin, Sa amin po nakikita namin sometimes ang damit ay 90 pesos, 80 pesos na hindi po para sa amin acceptable kasi bayad pa na po namin sa mga moms na mananahe ay nasa 60 to 150 pesos per piece or depende sa item na pinagagawa namin. We want to help out women as we promised them na bigyan sila ng sapat na pagkakataon at syempre budget o panggastos na nakikita naman namin maganda yung produkto, hindi namin sila binabarat. So hindi namin kaya makipag-compete with the market like Shopee and Lazada. But what we are trying to do right now is we will try to find a way na mas mapababa namin yung cost namin para maibigay namin yung needs ng client when it comes to, of course, the budget allocation nila para sa pamimili ng damit. Also, nagkaroon po kami ng live selling. Nowadays, marami pong mga tao ang into FB Live, Facebook Live selling, as well as Instagram selling. We decided to venture then po dun sa system na yon, and we're happy. We're happy that nagiging okay kami kahit pa paano nakakapag-bounce back. But what we do have issues within that yung ganung transaction is yung internet connection namin. Tulad ng sabi ni Ma'am, ni attorney kanina na they're trying their best to have a stable connection. And for us, as small business entrepreneurs, we really wanted to have that stable connection. Kasi ang hirap po talaga na dahil nga po sa ganitong sistema na natin na kailangan i-digital na, nahihirapan po kami kapag ang connection namin ay unstable. Sa live selling, for example, we have to reconnect at least 3 times just to have a stable connection, and sometimes we don't. We just have to stop. So instead of may benta na kami, mayroon na kaming clients, may manonood na sa amin, we have to stop because hindi naman ganun kaganda ang connection. I used to have PLDT wired, ma'am. Unfortunately, hindi siya ganun ka-stable, but I'm using mobile phone right now, which is smart. Ever since po, yun na yung gamit namin. So from time to time, we switch ng internet connectivity just to have the stable connection that we wanted. Can we go to the next slide, please? Ayan. So there you go. So we would like to thank everyone po na binigyan kami ng pagkakataon makasama sa seminar na ito. I also grateful sa lahat ng mga binigay po na input sa atin ng local governments natin, ng smart communications natin, and the PLDT, yung mga telcos, yung telcos natin, that, as an entrepreneur, this is our time to still strive harder, na still we have our own vision and our dreams to still survive. So napakalaking bagay po sa amin if we do have a stable connection and we still cope up sa kung anong needs ng market ngayon. And we want to be, of course, to stay with the current situation. And in order for us to stay alive, we really need to have a stable connection. So thank you very much.
Nakamute pala ako. Salita ako ng salita. Thank you very much, Joy. Yeah, that was wonderful sharing. Now, shall we move to Pam, our last panelist?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Jean. Muriel, could you share my screen, please? My presentation. Thank you, Ms. Jean. Good afternoon to my co-panelists, to the organizer of this webinar, and to our online guests and Facebook viewers. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Hope you are all safe and healthy. My presentation would be dealing with the results of the roundtable discussion on the readiness and adaptability of women micro-entrepreneurs to information communication and technology that PCW conducted in May this year. So you will note in some of my slides that gaps, issues, and challenges are reflective of the sharings by Joy and also of Mr. Mongoso. And yung mga ay na-experience talaga ng mga micro and small entrepreneurs. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. We conducted the RTD primarily because we want to know how the women micro entrepreneurs are coping with the abrupt transition to e-commerce, given the effects of the pandemic on the mobility and transportation of people. Due to COVID-19, majority of business transactions have become online. So we want to know, where does that leave the micro and startup businesses, where majority of them are women-owned and women-led? Specifically, the objective of the RTD is first to assess their familiarity and perception on the use of ICT equipment, the gadgets, and platforms. And second is we want to know their challenges and constraints in using the ICT. And lastly is to get recommendations from them on how government can better assist them on the use of the ICT. And prior to the RTD, we did an online survey to 37 women micro entrepreneurs, 18 of which are in level 1 and 19 are in level 2 categories. By the way, these are all Great Women Project beneficiaries, which is a Canada-funded project implemented by PCW in partnership with DTI, DOST, DA, and select private sector businesses. The survey questions cover personal information, their access to ICT, and their capacity on using ICT. Next slide, please. just to share with you quickly the profiles of the WMEs, or the Women Micro Entrepreneur participants, as I have said, purposively, we invited those who are level 1 and level 2 categories. These levels are based on DTI's export performance pathways, which determines the level of competitiveness and readiness of the enterprise to access the global market. So specifically for level 1 enterprises, they are businesses which are already registered with appropriate government agencies, be that at the municipal level or at the barangay level. They are also producing for the local markets within their respective municipalities or areas, and are participating already in municipal or provincial trade fairs. But they are needing more assistance in terms of scaling up their businesses. While for level 2 enterprises or businesses, aside from the qualifiers for level 1, these businesses have products or services that are already produced for a defined market, o meron na silang mga pinagbebentahan. Their market goes beyond the provinces. They're already supplying across regions, and they're already aware of the domestic opportunities and demands, and are already participating in national trade fairs. Next slide, please. And these are just additional profile of the participants. In terms of age, majority are between 40 to 59 years old, which can be considered as an aging population. No? Most of them are married, they are college graduate, and are owners of their businesses. Next slide, please. As their access to ICT tools and equipment, most of them own at least one device or gadget, and most common is a smartphone. Others have laptops, desktops, and tablets. And in terms of internet connectivity, most of the participants have internet connection at the location of their businesses, be that at home or outside of their residence, kung nasaan yung kanilang negosyo. And when asked about the applications or software that they use, most of them are using the Gmail or Yahoo Mail for receiving and sending emails. And when joining webinars, they use naman Skype and Zoom for forums and meetings. And they are familiar on the use of Google, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. It was noticeable, however, that few level 1 WMEs can use office applications like Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, which can be used in doing financial reports, business correspondence, and even collaterals for product promotions. Next slide, please. It was also noted that WMEs who are subscribed to postpaid plans have strong
I think we're having some connectivity problem here. Okay, if I may step in, because I think Pam is facing some connectivity problem. So as you can see, you have here the profile of WME participants. And as you can read, the WMEs who are subscribed to monthly plans or postpaid tend to have strong or reliable internet connection, with those who rely on load cards and e-loading services or prepaid services, while those that rely on prepaid services tend to experience poor or unreliable connectivity. 20 out of the 37, I suppose this will be level 2 WMEs, or women micro-entrepreneurs, have used Facebook, Shopee, Lazada, Instagram as e-commerce platforms. And they have all used e-payment platforms of various kinds. You have to remember, however, that this information were collected using online survey form. So by definition, those who participated in the survey have some access to the internet and that's gadget that could provide that could enable them to participate in the survey. Pam, are you already there?
Sorry about that, Ma'am Jean. That is a very classic example of a
Already,
loss
I
in
already,
connection.
I already presented that slide, so you can go to the next slide. You can you can switch off your video and just go audio. I think that will be easier.
Yeah, I think so. So
Here, go to
think-
the next slide.
okay, let me go to the next slide. So as to the gender issues identified, there are three major issues expounded during the RTD. It is recognized that both in the survey and the RTD, e-commerce and other modalities are useful in selling, marketing, and managing enterprises during this situation. However, in the rapid assessment done by Great Women Project in 2020, data shows that despite the health and safety risk of face-to-face interactions during the pandemic, most of them still consider trade fairs as a critical support to them. Their interests may be on this mode of marketing and selling, may be linked to their limited knowledge or skills in maximizing the benefits of the internet and other online platforms or e-commerce platforms. And this is corroborated by the DTI data that shows that while most WMEs have started their digital journey through popular social media like Facebook, women entrepreneurs need more knowledge and skills to optimize the digital platform and convert engagement to sales. Also, it was noted in the survey result that most of the WMEs are already 40 years old and above. And during the discussion, this came up as one of the factors why learning new application software is a bit of a challenge for them. Parang sinabi rin ni Mr. Mongoso kanina na pag medyo senior na, nahihirapan na talagang mag-adapt to the technology. And also during the discussion, it was also brought up that many young ones who lost their jobs due to the pandemic are venturing into online selling. And some of the elderly women consider this as a threat or disadvantageous to them because young entrepreneurs are more adept in digital techniques, they know marketing strategies, and they have wider networks, which becomes their winning edge. So for example, pareha sila nagtitinda ng peanut butter. Kung mas maganda yung product promotion ng mas bata, mas mabibenta yon. Kasi regardless of lasa, pag nakita nila na mas appealing or visually appealing, they prefer it. Okay, next slide please. Another issue identified is the high cost of shipment and the limitations imposed by some logistics company. Some of the WME share that while they are receiving order inquiries from potential clients abroad, the high cost naman of freight and postal fees hindered them in accommodating the transactions. Additionally, not all courier companies are shipping to countries like the USA and some European countries. They also share that some courier companies have restrictions on the type of products to be shipped, like handicrafts, which require more delicate handling and shipment. And those companies that are available naman have fewer options at yung namang nandun sa location nila ay hindi rin accessible to micro entrepreneurs. It was also raised during the discussion that shipments within the country takes longer time compared to shipments coming from outside the countries or abroad, especially now that there is pandemic. So most buyers prefer to order abroad instead of buying local because goods arrive faster kung in order online and from abroad. So yun yung mga difficulties. Next slide, please. And the last major challenge expounded is the limited access to devices and internet connectivity, and which further limits their capacity to adapt to business digitalization. Today, most innovations are underlined by digital technologies and are accessed through the internet through mobile devices. And the high cost of these devices and the data plans are considered as among the causes of the existing digital gender gap. In general, mobile signal is a problem in the different regions or sites, particularly in the Great Women Project 2 areas. In fact, based on the online monitoring done in March 2021, even WMEs in cities like those in Region 3 experience internet connection problems. That is why some WMEs access online training programs through mobile data, kagaya ng ginagawa ni Joy ngayon, which incurs additional cost to them. And while the WMEs have the interest to participate in various capacity building activities and in venturing to digital marketing, the unstable internet connection hinders their engagements, kagaya ng ipinaliwanag and shinare nga din ni Joy. There are also WMEs who have export quality products already, but they cannot market their products online because they do not have access to quality internet connectivity or have efficient gadgets to begin with. So these are the gaps and challenges we have gathered from the women micro-entrepreneurs, which reflects the quality of internet services in the country. Next slide, please. And we are just happy to note the continuous efforts being done by concerned government offices in addressing these inequalities in the access to social services in order to provide a, sabi nga ni Director ni DICT, to life-changing economic opportunities for all. In the presentations we heard from our colleagues from ARTA, DICT, and PLDT, we are assured that the public and private sectors are working in synergy to provide efficient regulatory policies and mechanisms and providing access to affordable connectivity services to make change work for our women micro-entrepreneurs so that they can equally compete and be more sustainable. We advocate for a stronger public-private partnership so that continuous learning, upskilling, and reskilling of the WMEs will be done for them to cope with advancements brought about by the fourth industrial revolution. And harnessing partnership with the private sector can also increase investments in ICT infrastructure, which can pave way for a wider and effective service provision, as well as development of efficient transportation's logistics system. And lastly, these partnerships can also result to reduce cost of online participation as related by PLDT for micro enterprises through adoption of technology-enabled business models that offer alternative means to access market. And I think that this is my last slide. Thank you for listening, and back to you, Ms. Jean.
Thank you very much, Pam. Although I was Pam for a while. I stood
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Now, okay. So what we heard, before I open the discussion, let's give you a synthesis of what we have heard so far. We have heard from ARTA and DICT laying out the efforts of government to improve access of citizens to government services. And given the pandemic, and probably even after the pandemic, is how access to services, including what Pam has already indicated, access to training in how to use, for instance, online platforms, et cetera, hinges on in citizens having access to reliable and cheap connections. So then our panelists for PLDT Eileen provided a private sector perspective in addressing connectivity challenges faced by millions of Filipinos, including WMEs, as well as the challenges PLDT itself as a telco have faced in getting both infrastructures and in place, and how regulatory reforms have helped the private sector telcos. And I think what she touched on exactly the private-public partnership that Pam has alluded to, when PLDT partnered with DICT, or DICT partnered with PLDT for some of its projects. Then at the local level, LGU Naga City has shared its experience with electronic BPLS and the challenges and the problems that the LGU has encountered by way of what can be called as binding constraints, not just to businesses, but even to local governments, in the form of stable electric power on the one hand, and connectivity, stable connectivity on the other, because all of them, both of them underpin the success of all the streamlining efforts that ARTA has been pushing for insofar as regulatory reforms are concerned. Joy gave us the joy of meeting an enterprise, and I think one important takeaway from Joy's presentation is the fact that because face-to-face face-to-face transactions with government can give you like different options for payment, in what June had also indicated as could be cash flow problems met by small businesses. Face-to-face can give you, say, face-to-face payment transactions will give, or can give WMEs access to term payments or installment payments, while there is no certainty that online payment would be able to accept that. And then PAM has wrapped up, as it were, the panel discussion by enumerating the various challenges faced by the women micro-entrepreneurs. Again, the problems actually are those that are been cited by people who already have access to internet connections and have gadgets. You can just imagine the millions of other women micro-entrepreneurs who may not have the gadget that will allow them to connect to government services and so on and so forth. Okay, now I shall open the floor for discussion. We have several questions here from the Q&A, and these are, I think, at least two are directed to ARTA, and Attorney Marco Balyeser will stand in for Secretary Mai. Marco, the question is, if you can you see the Q&A?
Hi, Miss Jean. Yes po.
Tignan mo there. How does ARTA track the efficiency and effectiveness of public assistance desk, which Secretary Mai mentioned?
Yeah, for ano po, no, first we conduct po inspections, surprise inspections. So this is one way for ARTA, no, to monitor compliance of government agencies, whether they have whether they have complied on the complaints and action desk. Also, we would like to inform everyone, I think baka nabanggit po ni DG, no, ni Sec Belgica kanina, that there is also a move right now, there is a plan to come up with a virtual public assistance desk. And we have been, since last year po, the issuance po nung ARTA issued a memorandum circular, and it stated there that the government agencies should have a hotline or an email address wherein the applicants or the transacting public should be able to relay their concerns if they want to make a follow-up, if they want to make an inquiry. We would like to take note of the limited mobility that we have right now during the pandemic. So these are the moves po, no, that also, and to reiterate po yung sabi ni Sec Belgica kanina, hindi po sufficient that there is a complaints and action public assistance desk. Hindi po sufficient na merong ganyang desk. Ang importante po, merong tao who mans the public assistance desk round the clock.
And can farm it out, yeah.
Yes po. And then also, and to add, no, the government agencies are directed to come up or to designate their respective committee on anti-red tape, committees on anti-red tape, wherein this committee designated by the government agencies itself will be the ones to monitor their compliance with RA 11032 or the Ease of Doing Business Act, and that they're the ones who are directed actually to ensure that someone is tasked or someone is manning that public assistance desk. Lastly, there's also a report card survey as mandated by the law. So this will also be a part of the monitoring scheme or monitoring system of ARTA in determining whether the government agencies are or have their respective public assistance and complaints desk.
Thank you very much, Marco. There's the other question there, but that is something that Respond will be assisting, can assist ARTA with, and that is the question of how do you collect sex disaggregated data from the public assistance desk, or are they anonymous?
Well, it was only recently po, Miss Jean, that ARTA has incorporated po no yung gender doon sa complaints and complaints form. So right now our public assistance division is already segregating, and I think we have some estimated percentages here, but the people actually, or the complainants, Miss Jean, has the option to not disclose, no, to keep their identities anonymous. But it is yes, Miss Jean. But it is important, if you'll keep your identity anonymous, then that's okay. But you have to provide us with sufficient documentation or pieces of evidence that will support the complaint.
Okay, so that is the question that answers also the question of how do you verify that how can you verify that there is merit to the complaint, that it is not nuisance, a nuisance kind of thing.
Yeah,
okay, thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Miss.
And for those of you who are interested, Respond has commissioned the research actually on the gender issue, on the experiences of women micro entrepreneurs with BPLS in the 3 partner cities of Respond, Manila, Pasig, and Quezon City, as they move to online and to streamline their services. So that report should be out within the year, if not early next year. But we will be going to ARTA actually to discuss the research results. Okay, now there is a question. Thank you, Marco. There is a question here for DICT. What does DICT, can you read it from Chikigo, Loy? What does DICT need from ARTA and other stakeholders to make things happen, given the urgent digital needs of the country during the pandemic, especially as these are important for education and business? Who has the real power to make things happen, to reach goals, and what is the first step that must be done now that will help lessen the challenges mentioned by LGUs and MSMEs? Loy?
Yeah. Hindi lang ako mag-open ng camera ko para makapag-save ng bandwidth.
Ay.
Though, I'm from the National Broadband, pero challenge din sa amin yung bandwidth kasi sa office currently, meron kami several meetings na ina-handle. So, medyo siya, ubusan ng bandwidth. Okay. So, practically, in terms of implementation sa mga projects namin or other projects na mga private companies related to ICT, lahat kasi dapat nagsisimula din ang willingness doon sa mga leaders natin sa local government unit. And kami, if we have engagement with the local government unit dati, we also try to involve the DILG. Kasi si DILG, sila yung may, ano doon, may command. No? A good thing, meron na tayo sa ARTA ngayon kasi we are obliged na to comply. Kaya yung June 17 na compliance nila for digitalization, ang daming nagkandara pa na mga LGUs na kumontak sa amin. Ito, pa-training, ganito, ganito. They think it's just easy. No? Pero ginagawa naman namin yung part namin. Kasi kami dati when we started, ako when we started in 2016, hindi pa DICT yun, it's still DOST ICTO, parang ano ba yan? Parang tatanungin ka, ano ba yan DOST ICTO? What you can do for us, no? And ano ba yung, like for instance, ano ba yung Wi-Fi? Biro mo, one of local chief executive in one of the town in Surigao del Sur asked me, how free is free? And to think, uncle ko siya, hindi siya naniniwala na free talaga. And sabi ko, Mayor, it's totally free. All you have to do is to sign the MOA if you're interested because you are one of the selected LGUs as of the moment during the phase 1. So, kasi kami, ang project namin is not just involved only in the national line agencies and the local government unit. We are also reaching MSMEs kasi meron kaming digital jobs training or dati tinatawag namin rural impact sourcing wherein we are training yung mga tao sa countryside to go online. Kaya yung when we have training, in fact we are working with ILO also. Meron kaming training na practically for women. Women lang talaga. 25 attendance namin for one batch is puro babae. At saka meron pa kasi sana kaming coding bootcamp na for 50 women. Good for 6 months in Cebu. Kaso di lang na-materialize yun kasi naabutan ng pandemic. So ano na siya. So yun, yung mga challenges ng ibang tao in terms of sa implementation, kagaya namin yung mga free wifi contractor namin, meron silang restrictions na na-receive because of the COVID pandemic. Pero it also boils down, I understand it na dapat sa local government, kahit kung hindi man maintindihan ng local chief executive kaagad, kasi may mga local chief executive kasi na hindi talaga inclined doon sa ICT, dapat man lang merong tao doon sa kanila na yung tinatawag nating totoong consultant, hindi consultant. Marami kasi sa LGU, consultant eh. Galing kasi ako LGU kasi alam ko yan. No? So, yun po. Kaya kami, when we started again with the IBPLS or the EBPLS, we work with the ILG and we work with DTI also para mas madali nilang maintindihan and involve na lahat ng agencies regarding doon sa business permit and licensing. Even yung mga training namin for women, for entrepreneurs, kasi yung halimbawa, creating a website or a social media marketing site for an MSME, kailangan namin yung mga MSME mismo. We cannot tap the MSME kung wala si DTI. Kaya takbo kami kay DTI. Si DTI yung in charge paghanap ng MSME na interested to have their site created for free. Free yan pero sila yung magbabayad ng yung domain registration at saka ng maintenance doon. So yun po. Yun nga, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. I think what Lloyd, I keep on using people's nickname. Director Leo or Director Loloy has indicated is that it needs coordination, coordinated action. Hindi lang at the national level, but especially national working with the local. Tapos, kasi national government agency, so that you look for your strategic partner. DILG para matulungan ka sa LGU, DTI para matulungan ka with WMEs. At DTI naman ay is looking towards DICT plus their partnerships with private telcos so that they can run their online training programs. And you have private foundations like Go Negosyo of Joey Concepcion, who ran kapatid ko Mentor Me program, of which I think Joy is a graduate. All need to lead with each other. Okay, so thank you very much. Now, I think for those who are interested to have copies of the power of the presentations, the PDF version, of course, they will have to accomplish the post-event survey form, which will be posted on the chat box towards the end of the webinar. You have to indicate there whether you need a certificate and whether you need to have a copy of the
Presentations.
Okay, so yun lang para may ano tayo, klaro kasi maraming nagtatanong na kanina. Now, then you have questions for PLDT, and this was actually personally texted to me. Kasi hindi yata siya hindi niya alam kung paano gamitin yung ano. Why is it that despite the capacity expenditures, the investments made by PLDT, tapos, and the penetration, as it were, of PLDT in different parts of the country, why is it that signals are still poor? Why are these signals are still poor? Or parang internets are still unstable?
Yun po ba? Which
Oo.
one? The signal is poor or the internet is unstable?
Dalawa yung ano niya, yung nire-raise niya. Kasi importante daw sa kanya kasi hindi lang dahil may business siya, kundi may anak siya na nag-online.
Opo. Okay. Yung po munang signal, no? Let me tackle the signal, no? Depends on ano kaya yung ginagamit nila. Are they talking about their Wi-Fi at home or their cellular subscription, no? Kung yung pong cellular signal, then key po dyan yung mga towers na sinabi ko kanina, no? So, the presence of our facilities in towers that are strategically located near the person who is accessing the service is key to a good and uninterrupted connection. Kasi po mobile yun eh, no? Kung ang sinasabi naman po by the person who asked you is their connectivity at home, marami pong dahilan yan, no? So one is the quality of the cable that is being used, copper po ba or fiber? Generally, the copper is less reliable than fiber. That's why at present, we still have around 400,000, more than 400,000 subscribers that are on copper, that we are ongoing efforts to migrate them to fiber. Pag fiber na po yan, mas faster, more reliable, etc. No? So kung copper po yan, isa pong dahilan kung bakit po mabagal or unreliable. Ikalawa po, yung pong inyong modem sa bahay ninyo, may diferensya ho ba? Tama ho ba? Yung connector, sometimes makikita niyo po sa pader niyo, meron pong maliit na box doon. Tama pa po ba? Maayos pa po ba? Marami po kasing dahilan yan eh. Another reason is that, for example, you're only subscribed to say 20 Mbps or 30 Mbps. And all of you, let's say you have 10 members of your household, all of you are streaming, Netflix, YouTube, those that are bandwidth hungry, as mentioned earlier, kung sabay-sabay nyo pong gagamitin yun, yung 20 or 30 Mbps nyo, i-divide nyo po sa dami ng tao ninyo. Malaki pong bandwidth ang nauubos din. Another reason is that yung pong mga online education ngayon, Zoom, eats up more bandwidth than the other. Let's say yung Google application or your Microsoft, they consume lesser bandwidth. Zoom consumes a lot more bandwidth. Kaya po sinabi ni Director Leo kanina, he will turn off his camera because video transmission also eats up bandwidth. No, I am not a technical person, but the many fora and webinars and even hearings in Congress and Senate that I've attended, I've tried to explain this. So marami po talagang dahilan. Another reason is because of the device that you're using. Ano po ba yung quality? Ano po ba yung type of processor that your laptop is using. If you have a Mac and you have let's say an i3 only, or a processor that is not as fast, no? Kung pagsabayin niyo po yan, definitely mas mabilis po makakalatch yung Mac versus the more inferior processor na laptop, no? So marami pong dahilan. So ang nangyayari po, whenever someone approaches us and asks that yung connectivity ko pangit, there is no cookie cutter solution po. We try to evaluate each and every line kung ano po yon, and then our people will go there, will examine down hanggang po dun sa, kung meron po, kung kayo po yung say nakatira po kayo sa isang condominium, titingnan po yung equipment room. Ayos po ba yung equipment? Titingnan po yung mga kable. Kung kayo naman po yung nasa bahay, yung poste ho ba, hindi ho ba naputol, hindi ho ba nalaglag yung kable. Marami po talagang dahilan. So I hope, I beg the indulgence of all the audience here right now, no, to try to understand this, and I'm trying to explain it, no. So just reach out to us and we will have people go to you and understand the problem kung bakit po ganon. And we will try to give you solutions po.
Thank you very much, Eileen. Actually, the answer should apply not just to PLDT, but to all the telcos, the providers. Kasi pareho yung ano yan,
Tama po.
yung example. Kaya ang ginagawa ng iba, may mixing sila. Kung
That's
may
right.
Sky Cable, meron ding Smart. Pag
Opo.
meron siya ang Sky Cable, di mag-hotspot ka. Kasi unlimited unlimited data ka.
Tama po. Even Director Leo has explained earlier that because they're providing connectivity na po, government to government and LGUs, nararamdaman din po nila yan. Na-experience din po na no less than the DICT is also experiencing the same problem po.
Okay, thank you very much, Eileen. I think we're running out of time, but I beg your indulgence. We have actually a question for, not really a question as it is, parang seeking advice kay Joy. Ang tanong dito, Joy, meron dito sa ano to, from the those who registered. Paano daw ba, saan daw ba pwedeng, in your experience, paano daw ba matutulungan yung small entrepreneurs sa kanilang marketing strategy? At ano daw ba yung pwedeng mga agencies na tumulong sa kanila? From your experience, Joy?
Yes po. Napakadami po ng agencies na pwedeng tumulong. Sa katulad ko po, no, based on my experience, one, I registered my business sa DTI. So through DTI po, sobrang dami na ng networks na idinala sa amin. As I've mentioned, graduate po ako ng program ng kapatid mentor me o the KMME ng DTI Rizal, headed by TT Mercy that time, tsaka ni Ma'am Sharon. So sila po yung tumulong sa amin. KMME is actually an activity na kung saan nililinang yung mga entrepreneurs. Sila yung tinuturuan, sila yung binibigyan ng pagkakataong matuto kung paano palaguin ang negosyo. Tinuturo sa kanila yung business improvement plan, may plano ka ba, paano mo hawakan ng pera mo, paano ka magkakaroon ng marketing strategy exposures. So yung mga bagay na katulad niyan. Because of DTI, nakilala ko po ang Great Women. Ako po ay isa ring beneficiary ng Great Women 2, na kung saan naman po tinulungan ako ni Miss Lizelle at saka yung team nila, binigyan nila kami ng ibang mga disenyo. Tinulungan nila kami sa ilang financial needs din namin, na kung saan bibigyan kanila ng kalinangan. Lastly, meron din kaming, kasama din kami sa program ni Dean Pax, yun pong USAID. Alam ko bahagi ng USAID program yung digital marketing. Sabi nga kanina ni Madam Pam, nasa age group ako na nasa 40 pataas. And we are not really into technical. Tulad ng sinasabi niya, ang kalaban ko magagaling na batang magaling mag-TikTok, mag-digital marketing, magaling kumuha ng pictures. And with the help of great women, with the help of DTI Rizal, with the help of PCW. Natulungan po kami, binigyan kami ng programa na matuturuan. You can ask DTI, you can ask yung mga sites na sinabi ko na kung saan matuturuan kanila. And one good thing about it, it's free. All you need to do is just to attend. Yung sa program ni Sir Dean Pax, 2 months ang training sa amin pagdating sa digital marketing. Uma-attend din ako sa Great Women Project ng mga digital tutorial ng digital marketing. Napakadami po. Sa panahon ngayon, seriously, kahit si Miss Ching, sila Sir Josiah Go and si Miss Chick Go, they have free seminar as well para sa marketing. So, yung mga ganung programa po, all you need to do is just to connect with them. You can visit your negosyo center po kung saan po kayo located na DTI. Makipagtulungan po kayo. Pwede po kayong kahit i-email mo sila o kahit na sa Facebook page po nila, mabibigyan po nila kayo ng mga libreng trainings, libreng seminars. Without their help, seriously, I'm really struggling para po ayusin yung negosyo namin. And nagpapasalamat kami sa kanila. Kasi di ba, sa tulad naming maliliit na negosyante, ito ay aming pangarap. Pangarap namin mapalago yung aming mga negosyo. And with the current situation, hindi namin ito kinakaya. That's the reason why yung mga tulad po ng mga agencies na nabanggit po, they are helping us to equip, to have that knowledge kung paano kami sumabay sa makabagong panahon. Kasi without their help, seriously, without their help, without the information that they gave us, hindi ko siya natutunan. Yung mga paano mag-create ng ganito, dapat pala maganda yung picture mo para mas enticing sa client mo. They'll give you feedbacks, they'll give you tutorials, napakadami. So all you need to do is just to seek them, ask help. Seriously, sa mga maliliit na negosyante, ang dami kong friends na tinuturo sa kanila na, oh, you go to this site, it's a free webinar. All you need to do is, of course, take time to learn, digest, i-apply, and you pray na ano ba ang dapat sa negosyo ko, anong maganda para dito. So with these people helping you, I believe that we can cope up these struggles that we do have. Yung pandemya na yan, malalagpasan natin, makakapag-bounce back tayo. So that's why I'm really grateful with this institutions na tumutulong sa aming mga micro businesses. So yun lang po. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Joy. Perfect. Now, for our last question, actually, which directed both to ARTA and to June Mongoso, parang from the perspective of an LGU. Meron ditong tanong na what is the, di ba ARTA is based in Manila? And ARTA has only one office in Manila. So how does it do its inspection or parang investigation in areas outside Metro Manila? Tapos yun namang LGU, ang question naman doon is how can the LGU sort of firewall itself from help, not firewall, but help women micro-entrepreneurs protect women micro-entrepreneurs from LGU harassment because you belong to a different political party. Tapos kung ganyan yung problema, ay paano ba, where does ARTA come in? Nasa question kasi dito yan eh. What if the issuance of business permit or allowing a businesswoman, market vendor, was been renting in the public mall and has been a good payer before the renovation is not allowed to go back due to politics? It is the LGU itself that refuses to allow that businesswoman to, because the woman's brother ran against the mayor in the previous election. Ano ba yan? Anyways, but that's reality. Okay, Marco?
Yes.
So how
Thank you,
do you reach out to areas outside Metro Manila?
Okay, thank you, Miss Jean. First off, ARTA has regional offices po, no? But we are on the process of filling up this regional offices. As of today, we posted po, no? We recently posted vacant positions for the various regional offices. I think there are 8, no, as approved by the DBM so far. Sa ngayon po, we have 8. So aside, and then that's for the human resource insofar as the persons who will man or staff who will man the regional office. As to the physical office naman po, Miss Jean, we have entered into a memorandum of MOU or MOA rather with DTI, whereas DTI will allot or allocate a particular office space for ARTA. So for the meantime that ARTA is setting up its regional offices po, may i-designate po sila na lugar sa negosyo centers or DTI regional offices where the staff of ARTA will be stationed po. So that's one thing. Now, that's for the ARTA, no, the organization. But we also have partnership we call meron tayong tinatawag po na ARTA Champions. So we entered into a memorandum of understanding. Ang nauna po is the PCCI or the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And there's a roster po, no? There are various organizations na rin that have entered into an agreement or who were designated as ARTA champions already by ARTA. And these ARTA champions, nauna na po si PCCI, they were trained to handle complaints. So they are trained to assess yung complaints and then refer it to ARTA. So what we did is to somehow augment the manpower of ARTA by tapping the business sector para sila rin po ma-empower na alam nila yung karapatan nila as a business entity kapag sila ay magta-transact sa government, ano yung commitment dapat ng government to deliver a efficient government service. And we received complaints po from the various chambers of commerce around the Philippines. So sa ngayon, for the meantime, yun po, no, we reach out, we enter into partnerships, and also kanina po nabanggit ni, I think, si Mr. Mongo, so yung sa Region 5, how ARTA can reach Region 5. Kanina po, well, as of since yesterday, one of the participants po doon sa rollout po ng ARTA on the new JMCs, yung sa guidelines po on the business permits, licenses, related clearances, which, by the way, UP PAF Respond helped us in drafting. Thank you very much po. We really appreciate it. Yun po, no, they were part, no, the Region 5 is part of that orientation, and I was there kaninang umaga to also answer questions po pertinent to that JMC. So we do we do rollouts online para po ma-reach din natin yung various regions. So those are but some of the ways or means that we do po para ma-cover po natin. And we really understand po na even at the onset po nung nagsimula po si Secretary Belgica nung siya po ay na-appoint sa ARTA, that is already a concern for him, na alam niya na nasa Manila tayo, dito yung central, and we have to go to the grassroots, to the talaga po, no, sa mga iba't ibang lugar, sa mga liblib, nandyan po yung gusto rin nating ayusin po. And this is but one of the ways. And also we have volunteers po, no? We have ARTA volunteers. We have various organizations who are signing up for the for being a volunteer po sa ARTA. So those are the Ms. Jean. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, Marco. Jude, instead of asking you to comment on that, may I ask you to comment on something else? There is again here a question from that was posted much earlier, millions of small entrepreneurs, I think the person is also referring to micro entrepreneurs, are strangers to online processes, and they're mostly likely living in rural areas. So the closest they can get to government is through the LGU. Now, since even if Naga is a city, we have still rural areas in Naga City. How has the LGU actually reached out to the women in to the entrepreneurs in Kararaya? Kararaya ba to?
Panikwason, Kararayan.
Kararaya or Panikwason or what have you. Okay.
Actually, these areas, the so-called rural areas, are the priority of the city government. Actually, up to now, we have 135 sites where we provide hotspots within the barangay hall, within the schools, within the community facilities that they can make use of. Originally, it was conceptualized for the students, but since free naman na, so we invited the women entrepreneurs to go online also. And on top of that, we also provide them the necessary assistance in terms of developing the package of selling their products online. And we have a community mart where they can post their products and we can facilitate the supply and demand side to enhance their viability.
Yeah, this is especially during the pandemic, no?
Yes po.
Yeah.
Sa lahat ng supplies ng city during the pandemic, sa kanila namin kinukuha.
Good, because that is also one point where government can help small businesses to their
Yes po.
procurement policy.
Oo. Kaya lang sabi ko nga kanina, yung
Matagal
payment
lang
process,
magbayad.
yung payment process naman ang naging problema namin kasi alam mo na sa government, ang daming papeles. So yung, di ba, kulang naman yung capital nila, so naabala din yung turnaround ng capitalization. So tinitingnan namin ngayon na tremendously ma-reduce yung time for processing.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much, John.
Thank you po.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, June. Now I think it is time to close this webinar. We're supposed to go only until 4:30. So before just an advice to everyone, we will have a class picture.
Okay.
All 200 who are still, 218 who are still online. So we will have a class picture. There will be several frames. This will be the first time I will be asking the staff to take class pictures. Kasi we have had, this is the 8th. Sabi ko, bakit hindi ako magpa-class picture at least once, no? Na lahat-lahat, hindi lang yung panelists at yung speakers. So, Mir, let's do it now. So those who haven't combed their hairs yet, comb your hair now. Okay, Merl, can we take the photo muna? Okay. Baka daw hindi kayang kunin lahat. Hindi dati kaya, Merl?
Yes, ma'am. We are limited po to the panel.
Sorry. O sige. So, tayo, yung mga ano, so panelists, please open your, including Cray. Cray, open your camera also. Cray, are you going to give your message live or video?
I can do it live, but my problem is the brownouts.
Okay, so we'll, later. Okay.
Thank you.
Lahat ba tayo nandito? Si Loy. Marco, show yourself. Yeah. Okay, because you're Cray, Pam. Where's Pam? Where are my girls? Where are my girls? Okay. Okay na, dear. Say when.
Okay po. Teka, for a while lang po. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Isa pa lang po ulit. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay.
Okay na? Okay.
Ah,
I want pala to have a class picture, full class picture. Hindi pala kaya nung aming plan. Nothing to do with connectivity. It has to do with the plan, not the plan for the smart or or global what have you. Now, we will have to attend to that yata, Henry, at one point. So we can do class picture ng lahat. Now, we shall go now to Attorney Cray's closing remarks. But after that, we will have the awarding of virtual certificates of appreciation. But let me call on Attorney Cray to give her closing remarks. That will be done video because electric power in CDO right now is very unreliable. Baka daw mag-brown out bigla. Okay? Mer, shall we show it now?
okay po.
Basilio, ARTA Director General. To UPAF respond Dr. Enrico Basilio, ARTA Director General, Jeremiah Belgica, DICT Undersecretary Emmanuel Caintic, to our panelists, to our MSMEs and WMEs, to our partner NGAs, LGUs, CSOs, and all the groups working with women, micro, and small entrepreneurs, good afternoon. I am confident that the conduct of the 8th webinar series on women's economic empowerment with the theme Improving Connectivity to Make Regulatory Reforms Work for Women-Owned Micro and Small Enterprises has increased the level of awareness of our WMEs and MSMEs in understanding the continuing challenges brought about by internet connectivity concerns, especially on how they can have better access to online government services that are critical to their operations. Just to reaffirm that the points raised again today are the same challenges our WMEs have been experiencing since the start of the pandemic, which is the access of a stable internet connectivity along with the necessary digital infrastructures to support their businesses and allow them to continue their business transactions. We may note that in his 6th and final SONA, the President has thanked our lawmakers for passing the Ease of Doing Business Act and fulfilling a major part of the administration's agenda on streamlining government services. We also thank our resource agencies for this afternoon's session. It is noteworthy to highlight some more efforts of the government that make the delivery of services to the people now become more efficient. Both the Anti-Red Tape Authority and the Department of Information and Communications Technology have been instrumental in laying down the progress towards the ease of doing business with the development of a platform where citizens and business owners can now access forms and requirements necessary for business registration. Likewise, the reported improvement in average connectivity speed we attribute to both the DICT and ARTA's fast tracking of fixed and wireless permits of telecommunications infrastructures, which was made possible through the building up of their agency's internal capacities, workforce, and resources. Earlier this year, the President has also created the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Streamlining of Government Processes, with which his executive issuance has granted the Presidential Advisor on Streamlining Government Processes authority to recommend policies, strategies, programs, and measures to cut red tape, as well as review existing government systems and processes to ensure simplified structures and methods to avoid lengthy bureaucratic paperwork that is considered prone to corruption. Additionally, the executive order provided that the PASGP and ARTA ensure harmonization, integration, and non-duplication of all government initiatives on ease of doing business. These efforts, combined with the digitalization initiatives of the government that have helped make government services closer to Filipinos, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, has promoted transparency and efficiency in the delivery of government services amidst the crisis that we are still facing. And so, whilst our MSMEs and WMEs are bound to enjoy these services and their benefits, we are also enjoined to help in monitoring the implementation and compliance of government agencies and LGUs as well in all matters involving the exercise of authority under these efforts. Further, we need to also look at how women are coping in the home, marketplace, and community given the shift to digitalization. After all, women are not just entrepreneurs, they are also mothers, wives, tutors, and many more. The government believes that we have the capacity to absorb digital and online transformation and accelerate to growth levels that can help improve the lives of our MSMEs, especially our women micro-entrepreneurs, and eventually contribute in addressing poverty in the country. Hopefully, we can continue to work together to ensure that connectivity efforts are not just infrastructure related, but also look at the strategic interests and needs of women. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Craig. Craig gave her video closing remarks, but she's actually with us. Only that she's not sure how long the electric power will be up. Now, just will you make others, Craig? Thanks for showing your face. Now we shall go to the awarding of certificates plus announcements. And for those who need certificate of attendance and copies of the presentation, make sure to stay until the end so that you can link, you can click on the survey link later. Okay, take it away, Jess.
Okay po. So in behalf of the Respond team, I present this e-certificate of appreciation to our speakers and panelists. So let me read the certificate po. This certificate is hereby presented to for imparting valuable insights as speaker or panelist in the webinar series on Women's Economic Empowerment number 8, Improving Connectivity to Make Regulatory Reforms Work for Women-Owned Micro and Small Enterprises, held on August 27, 2021. Signed by Dr. Enrico L. Basilio, Chief of Party of UPAF Respond. So, we award the certificate to our speakers, Attorney Jeremiah B. Belgica, Director Leo C.L. Uzbintondo Jr., to our panelists, Attorney Eileen D. Reggio, Mr. Florencio Tamong Mongoso Jr., Ms. Joy L. Rapsing, Ms. Pamela C. Susara, and to Attorney Christine E. Yuson Chavez for the closing remarks.
Muriel will be sending you your e-certificate of appreciation. Before we close, I think you will have to show them what our next webinar is, right? Yeah. Because you might be interested in attending this. So it's actually on cybersecurity measures to protect women and children from online abuse and trafficking. I'm planning actually to invite the author of the Safe Spaces Act, Risa Ontiveros, and the key stakeholders in making sure in putting in place cybersecurity measures. So not only the DICT, but also the PNP and some other stakeholders, plus of course PCW. Now, that will be in November. In January, we will go local. So we will showcase local LGU efforts to put in place cybersecurity measures. Okay, that will be in January. Okay, at this point, before we close, I would like to acknowledge the technical support from the UPAF Respond team especially Miriel Damsani, whom you have met through emails, Jess Montenegro, Kirima Bagas, Kay Bagas, and Jovel Alsate. My thanks also to Dr. Henry Basilio, our chief of party, for his what I call unstinting support to the webinar series, and to Paulo Fernando, our new communications officer, for designing the webinar posters. Okay, so that is for people who are looking for the link to the seminar survey. That's the link. What do you do with the QR code? You take a photo? Sorry, lola na ako. You take a photo and then you use it, whatever. I hope it's also clickable somewhere. So those of you indicate whether you need a certificate of attendance and a copy of the presentations. At this point, I thank everybody again, the speakers, the panelists, everyone who has stayed on. We still have 197 online. And have a good weekend. Ingat sa COVID. Ingat kayo lahat. Maraming
Thank you.
salamat. Thank you,
Keep
Marco.
safe, everyone. Thank you, Ma'am Jean. Thank you to all
Thanks,
like happen.
everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Pam. Thank you, Craig. Ang dami ko thank you, Juan. Buti lang, hindi ko isa-isa yung nasa Zoom registration link. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you to all. Thank you to you.
Yeah. Sige.
Thank you po.
Ada ko sa audience. I know si Giselle, si Mayang, and so many others. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Salamat. Sige, Pam. Okay. Lloyd, maraming salamat.